Comic Cons, sporting events, pep rallies, or any mass event. Something interesting happens when you bring a group of dedicated fans together. It could turn out to be something beautiful, like singing in unison during the 7 inning stretch of a baseball game, or something just diabolically cringe, like the My Hero Academia community. Today, I would like to share my experiences in particular to conventions of the geeky kind. You know, the comic books, the anime, the video games. So I'll give you a sec to brew your coffee, grab your snacks or meal, and put this in the background because it's story time. What is good, y'all? It is the Young King Ken, and today I'm talking about conventions of the geeky kind. And of course, I do a lot of gameplays, discussions here and there, but this is actually my first video on the channel doing a story time. So please, if you like what I'm about to hear, give it a like, give the video a comment, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever my vids drop. So without further ado, let's get into this. And throughout the video, I'm going to share just several experiences that I've had at different conventions here and there. And the first one I wanted to talk about stems from a stereotype that's very common when you go to these type of conventions, right? You hear people always say that folks who go to cons, right, weeaboos, gamers and all that stuff, right, that these people don't use deodorant. You know, I thought it was a myth because I thought that was just something that everyone did. And I walked into the convention, I was like, everything was smelling fine, and as I was walking through the artist alley where they sell all this art, games, all this stuff, something caught my eye. It was a collection. It was just nicely stacked of a bunch of PlayStation 1 games, just in discs, everything. They just all look in just perfect mint condition, right? And I walk over to that booth, right? And the dude was selling the dude was essentially like selling this stuff for like $20, $30, $40. I'm sitting there like, I was like, my guy, like, you're not going to just up the price of these things? I was like, my goodness. I mean, you got Final Fantasy, the OG Final Fantasy 7. You got Crash Bandicoot up in the mix. I'm sitting there like Twisted Metal. Like, I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick up some of these games. And I see the clerk over there, and I was going to ask him a couple of questions about the games. And as I drew closer to him, a powerful stench hit me, right? And this stench was like, what did Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob say? It was like that smelly smell, that smelly smell. And I gotta be honest, it was a mixture of must and ass. Like the closer I got to him, like the closer I wanted to just close my nostrils, right, and just avoid the smell. But I couldn't. I couldn't avoid it, right? And, he was talking to me. He was like, hey, what's up? You got any questions about these games? And he was just telling me the story about like how like he was moving out of his mother's basement, and I'm sitting there looking. I was like, man, you kind of look the part. The guy looked like your stereotypical neckbeard, right? Those guys who again never leaves their mother's basement. They usually have what are they called? It's those anime girl body pillows. I'll probably show a picture up on screen or whatever, but yeah, he got one of those. And I just look at him. I'm just nodding my head like, and I wanted to end that conversation for real. And he asked again, like, oh, what games are you looking for? And I was like, I'm just looking around. I was gonna buy something, but I was like, from that dude's smell, I'm like, I don't know. Those games look in mint perfect condition, but I don't want to take them home and attract any. I do not want that musk following me home. So I just walked up out of there. Like, nope, can't do it, y'all. Couldn't do it. So the second story, it follows the same trend of hygiene or lack of hygiene. And this one's a little bit of a shorter story. I went to this convention with a couple of my friends, and I wouldn't say this was a convention per se, but it was more of like, I think it is like a celebration of Japanese culture, which it felt more like an anime convention than anything else. Right, because it was just a whole bunch of anime, and there's just people cosplaying as like anime characters, video game characters. It was just a lot of that, right? But it was at this community college, and a lot of their buildings look exactly the same. Like, it's like you dropped the same dirt block in Minecraft, and you couldn't tell the difference. So I'm driving around this place, and my friends and I like agreed to meet like inside in the main lobby. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I go to like the farthest building, right? Because that looked like the main building, and I walk in, there's just nobody there, right? It didn't even look like a convention, right? And so I like walked out. I was like, okay, let me just go to the next building, and same thing, just a big open hallway. So I go to the next building and the next building, and then I hit this other building, which the place didn't have signage or anything, so you just wouldn't know that there was like this convention happening. So I walk in, and like it was still the same thing, but it was different because a waft of musk just hits my face, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the right place right here. This is the right place. I'm going in the right direction. Like that. First off, that's embarrassing. That would be embarrassing if you're able to identify a place by its smell, and the smell is bad. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I mean, it's not even just the deodorant, y'all. Take y'all showers. Take a shower for real. Like, my goodness. I walk in there and I smell the musk, and and I see my friends right across the hall, and I'm telling them like, y'all know this freaking smell? And it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I want you to be used to it by now, going to these conventions. I'm like, shoot. But yeah, just listen, y'all, take a shower before these events. And when I mean take a shower, I'm like, use some soap. Let's avoid the Axe. Go in there, wash yourself really, really good. And then when you get out, use that deodorant. And do all that the morning of the event, because you're going to be doing a lot of walking. You're going to do a lot of close contact with people. Yeah, brush your teeth while you're at it too. Groom yourself, right? This is something that you should have learned as a little kid. This is kindergarten stuff, and I'm sitting here having to tell people to do all this, man. Yeah, share this video with someone who really needs to hear this, right? Because that's just ridiculous going to these conventions and stuff. But yeah, so moving away from hygiene for a little bit. Hopefully that grasps y'all's attention. This next story, it's come from the same convention and or celebration or whatever, but you ever know if you were an older sibling, or like if you're like the most experienced person in like a video game or whatever, and you play against your younger siblings or like your more like casual players, and you just whoop their tails in a game of Super Smash Bros. Y'all ever experienced that? Like, really? I mean, I can't say I have that experience with my siblings because my siblings are actually good at these freaking games. But we all decided to go to the game room, and when I mean the game room, I mean like the video game room, not the tabletop game room. Like the stories about hygiene there are way worse because it's in a small concentrated space. Let me not even go back. Let me not even create a new story for y'all. So we walk in, right? We walk into the video game room, right? You know, there's a lot of people with consoles, all sorts of consoles. People playing Street Fighter, Tekken, you know. And in the back of the room, there was like a huge like TV setup with Super Smash Brothers, right? And they have like a basket full of GameCube controllers. So we was like, oh heck yeah. And in like the average age that we're seeing of people like out here are like kids, children. So, you know, me and a couple of my friends who were like practically fresh out of college, yeah, we decided to give it a go. And like, you know, these kids are just trash talking us like, oh, I bet you can't beat us in Super Smash Brothers. Like y'all got no chance against us. So I was like, oh man, kid, if you don't shut up, I was like, I'm about to show off, right? So as this kid was saying that, I look over to my friends and they looked over at me because like we're practically the same skill level. I mean, we're like, when we say we're good, we're not like we could compete at Super Smash Brothers super major and do some work. No, we're like, oh yeah, we're good enough where we can beat most casuals, right? So we just look at each other and we just give each other a head nod, like, yeah, just typical head nod, and we sit down. We sit down to play him, right? It was like the 8-player Smash. We didn't play like by like competitive rules, but there were no items here and there. And we sat down, and I was like, you know what, y'all, you know, because this kid was still trash talking, right? I was like, you know what, you know, I'm gonna use my best character. And I pick, and for those that haven't seen my Super Smash Bros. Gameplays, my main is King K. Rool. I know a lot of people are like off put by that because like on the tier list he's like mid tier or something, but no, like I was like, I'm about to walk the floor with this kid, and of course, you know me, I walk the floor. 8-player Smash, so like usually my strategy is to just play lame and, you know, get some of these people knocked off. But the kid who was complaining, or not complaining, who was trash talking, right? Like my only target was him, right? So I just kept throwing them around the around the stage. Just hitting all kinds of combos. Well, I mean, I didn't pull off like any major combos, but you know, I was trying to dunk. I was trying to dunk like it's, you know, like I'm LeBron James, prime LeBron, right? So I'm just dog walking this kid, and of course, like you probably expecting all the kids go cry or anything like that, but the kid was a good sport, right? And like we stayed there for a few hours because like more folks started to come in, and like we didn't really play anybody too competitive outside of like the friend group and I that came in, and I thought that was like fun to share because like. Because like, you know, who wouldn't love just dog walking other players, right? You know, just dominating. So this final story, it's I feel like this memory is near and dear to my heart, because I mean this is a soul reminder that like a lot of the things that we consume in terms of fictional media, it can have a great impact on like your day-to-day life, whether it be like the lessons that you grab from those shows and whatnot. And like this is just thinking about Akira Toriyama's passing. You know, Akira Toriyama was the creator of Dragon Ball, and of course the Dragon Ball franchise. And of course, my experience with Dragon Ball, like I dabbled into a few episodes when I was younger, but like I didn't really get into it until like I was like an adult. When I was like in college. But still, like Dragon Ball, like was, you know, it was just that show. I watched the original Dragon Ball before going into Dragon Ball Z, and like this stuff is. I was like, man, this is amazing. This is a work of art. This is gold. Like I found gold in fiction. So, going to the convention, this is my first convention I'm talking about, and you know, when I'm walking around the artist alley, you know, I'm there for like the panelists. See what kind of stuff is in the artist alley. Not usually to get autographs from celebrities, but they had a pretty good guest lineup. They had a pretty good guest lineup. And at the time, I believe Stan Lee was there. There was a couple of pro wrestlers. And then like Charles Martinet, I think that's how you say his name. He was the voice actor for Mario and Luigi, or actually like those main characters in the Super Mario franchise. And then you had guys like Christopher Sabat and Sean Schemmel, who were like the voices of Goku and Vegeta. And you know, those were like the longest lines, but knowing that they've specifically Christopher Sabat, because that's who I got the autograph from, knowing that he voiced not only Vegeta, but like he also voiced Zoro for One Piece. I was more of a One Piece fan, and I was like, okay, I gotta hop into this line. Like that was probably the longest line. And like, you know, while in this line, like, you know, you can hear like some of the voice actors like kind of like portraying like their characters, and I'm like, bro, this is surreal. Like this like sound like the actual characters from the show, and it's like it brings off a sense of nostalgia that that I just wouldn't think possible. And you know, when the line kind of got to me, and you know, I was getting his like signature, I was like, you know, I was at a loss for words. I was like, this dude really voiced these characters. Like this is absolutely amazing, right? And you know, these guys are just everyday people just like you and me, but yet they've like the words that they say can create like a major impact on our lives, right? And you know, it's not just like, yeah, the creators of these of like these shows, mostly manga, right? These mangakas, as they call it. You know, Akira Toriyama, Ichiro Oda, and many others, like they've made like a huge impact in like fiction, because like it gives some of these like shows like give like actual life lessons, and it kind of like shape the way that you think, your ambitions, like your drives, or your motivations. Like it's cool to just to get an autograph from the people that that voiced your childhood. So yeah, I was at a loss for words when I met Chris Savage, but like, I mean, he was driving the conversation. I was like, you know, I need you to just sign my sketchbook, because like I draw as a hobby, and he obliged, and like he just wrote down he wrote down something. If I can find my sketchbook, I'll show it on video, but he just wrote down like several pages, like ha, and yeah, that was just absolutely amazing. And I did like and like that memory is actually on my Instagram page. So if you take a look at my Instagram page, go ahead and follow it. But there's a photo at me and him at one of the at the con, and yeah, that was just an amazing experience. Like, and yeah, going into the outro, like when it comes to conventions, I know like I talk a lot of crap like very early on in the video, but that's, you know, I mean, stereotypes are going to be there for these type of events, but the actual experiences, the memories that you make, the friendships that you uphold, those are going to be, yeah, those are going to make a major impact, right? It shows that while like you're spending hours and hours and hours on like these shows or these video games, like just know that you're not the only one experiencing this. Like you have a vast world of people who could be potentially your friends, and or your future friends or whatever, and you know, they enjoy the same thing. So I mean, I encourage people to go to conventions or go to like tournaments or whatever to just, you know, just interact with folks. I feel like it's just a good way for us as humans to be connected, especially during times of like division and politics that are just ripping apart everyone. But that's me going on a tangent. I mean, I've been going on a tangent for like 23 minutes now. But yeah, these are some of my stories from conventions. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell as well to get updates on whenever my vids drop. And yeah, and let me know if you want to hear more like stories. I mean, they probably won't be as long as this one, but hey, check out my other content. And until the next one, y'all, I will need y'all to keep our kingdom seasoned, y'all.